I see you with your goals and your big ideas, your hopes and dreams that you keep locked behind your fears. Why tarry? Why wait? Tomorrow's fair weather may come too late. You were born to be better, why deny what's true? A dream is just an ambition that you don't pursue. Have courage, be brave. Take a chance or take your chances to your grave. You've got a hunger, you've got a need. What you're denying, what you believe. You've got to take pride in who you are. Know you deserve all this and more. Nothing is written, nothing is set. If you want the future, you've got to get it. They may be smarter, they may be stronger, but you've a will and you've got a hunger. Oh, oh, oh. I want to see you rise up, rise up. Oh, oh, oh. I want to see you rise up, rise up. Oh. Why deny when you know what your heart desires? You want to burn bright, then you know you've got to feed the fire. One flash, one flicker, one spark, and then your heart beats quicker. You're gonna fail and you're gonna fall. You're gonna gamble and lose it all. You're gonna bleed and you're gonna cry, but better to fail than never to try. Those are the risks when you're a contender. Scars that mark you from a pretender. When no one knocks you down, then you get right back up again, sing it and show them all just who they're fucking with. Oh, oh, oh. I wanna see you rise up, rise up. Oh, oh, oh. I wanna see you rise up, rise up. Oh, rise up, rise up. The forest falls one tree at a time, so keep your eyes on the prize at the end of the line and be wise. Just remember what the scholars say: when you got one shot, you don't throw it away. Oh, oh, oh. I wanna see you rise up, rise up. Oh, oh, oh. I wanna see you rise up, rise up. Oh, oh, oh. I wanna see you rise up, rise up. Oh, oh, oh. I wanna see you rise. Oh, oh, oh. I wanna see you rise up, rise up. Oh, oh, oh. I wanna see you rise up, rise up. Oh. Rise up, rise up. I see you with your goals and your big ideas, your hopes and dreams that you keep locked behind your fears. Why tarry? Why wait? Tomorrow's fair weather may come too late. You were born to be better, why deny what's true? A dream is just an ambition that you don't pursue. Have courage, be brave. Take a chance or take your chances to your grave. You've got a hunger, you've got a need. What you're denying, what you believe. You've got to take pride in who you are. Know you deserve all this and more. Nothing is written, nothing is set. If you want the future, you've got to get it. They may be smarter, they may be stronger, but you've a will and you've got a hunger. Oh, oh, oh. I wanna see you rise up, rise up. Oh, oh, oh. I wanna see you rise up, rise up. Oh. Why deny when you know what your heart desires? You want to burn bright, then you know you've got to feed the fire. One flash, one flicker, one spark, and then your heart beats quicker. You're gonna fail and you're gonna fall. You're gonna gamble and lose it all. You're gonna bleed and you're gonna cry, but better to fail than never to try. Those are the risks when you're a contender. Scars that mark you from a pretender. When no one knocks you down, then you get right back up again, sing it and show them all just who they're fucking with. Oh, oh, oh. I wanna see you rise up, rise up. Oh, oh, oh. I wanna see you rise up, rise up. Oh. time, so keep your eyes on the prize at the end of the line and be wise. Just remember what the scholars say: when you got one shot, you don't throw it away. Oh, I wanna see you rise up, rise up. Oh, I wanna see you rise up, rise up.
Genuine, like when the stream that I watched when he was on, I was just like, this man is the nicest human being ever.
He is really good. We are live.
Hello.
We did go live.
By the way, we're live. Hi everyone.
Oh, we lost Ian.
Now Ian's excitement just exploded, and well, he's done. He's done. So,
Excellent. So thanks for coming, Ian. That was great, mate.
Well, it's been great. I'm about to explode in a second as well. So wait for that.
Yeah.
Hello,
So hi everyone. Thanks for coming along.
that is just, by the way, that is absolutely typical. Ian from our podcast is just immediately dispatched from the. I wonder where he's gone. I'm worried about him now.
Yeah. He is. Well, he's still there. We just can't see or hear him. So. Just to let everyone know that everyone's computers they are currently melting. Mine is, he's gone now completely. So
Yeah.
oh no,
back.
no, he's come back.
Coming back.
Let's see what happens there.
It's not just the computers that are like melting at the moment. I am also.
Hello, my computer literally just melted. Literally just died. Sorry about that, guys. It's a professional organisation here with the Larp Noobs, guys.
Doing well. We're doing well.
We were absolutely typical of us coming on. Like we're all really excited.
Immediately shut down.
Steve's channel, having a nice time, and you immediately quit out.
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah, you couldn't write it any better than that. That was brilliant.
or should we just ignore this and try and?
Ah.
Would you like to try and move this like train along, or?
We've got Nexus Illustrations is in chat. They were the people I was telling you about, who were doing all the artwork. There we go. Ian's back.
Sorry, guys.
So Nexus is doing. I sent them over some pictures of from Empire, and they've now started to do them on their stream. So so they've got their own Twitch channel as well. So go and check them out. And because bit of music, bit of drawing, it's so chill. It's lovely. I had that on in the background while I was getting this sort of set up. So
I've got a niece and nephew, and I had this idea that for this Christmas I would like commission an artist to draw like cartoon pictures of them being superheroes. And I was like,
cool.
It's a cool idea, right? And I was just like, but where am I going to find any artists from? I just remember it's like the amount of fantastic artists involved in Empire is ludicrous. The illustrations board thing is like the coolest places to go and browse and see what these different commissions do.
yeah, definitely.
My gorilla tape is really fading in this heat. So
thank you
I can't
for
say anything. My computer literally died. I'm like, I feel like I've got like a pair of bellows or something, just trying to get this thing going.
Maybe we should just move to our fridges and then just do the rest of the stream.
That's what I'm planning. Thank you for subscribing, not Goldhawk. I really appreciate it.
Oh, and George, yeah, nice, and all the people, lovely. Thank you.
We are doing well. I changed the animations for my followers and subscribers as well because people were saying, is Alien really suitable for it all? I love the Alien films. I'm a huge Alien fan, so it was like, yeah. Ian, you might have to turn your mic up a bit for us if you can, mate.
All right, I will try and do that.
You sound all right to me, but they're saying you're a little bit quiet.
I am the quiet one.
Do you also think about it? Is it wise to bump Ian up a bit?
Probably
I was going to say he's showing us quite loud on mine, so
Yeah.
Okay.
There is such a thing as too much Ian. Just to let everybody know.
so I think we could give a little bit of an update because
All right, try that.
so who's who, Steve? We'll get to that in a second. Matt is he's getting good at chasing me along now. So, oh man, it is so hot.
Dude,
Give
it's
it.
the worst.
I'll give a little bit of an update of things that are going on. So, in a couple of weeks, I'm waiting for a specific date. I'm going to be in a live action trailer for a new computer game. So I'm actually being filmed. I'm going to be a tattoo artist. So they called me today to confirm all of that. Is Helen around? It's Anarchy today. Yes, Helen is in the bedroom at the moment because it's a lot cooler in there than it is in the living room at the moment. So I am melting here. And also, at some point, I will have 2 of the producers and writers from Geek and Sundry coming on the stream as well. So that was a bit of a shock for me because that's obviously going to be huge when I get that. So
unfortunately, until then, you're stuck with plebs like us who have very little to offer, are not particularly charismatic or talented.
Ian, the best
Yeah.
part of that, which is the filler. Okay, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's where we fit in. We're
Yeah.
Also, like, Steve was talking about that earlier before we joined the stream. I was just like, man, we need to up our guest game, dude. Like, we need to up our game.
yeah,
It's,
I was
But that's how we've always done stuff, right? So we have an event, and then we just get in touch with like, okay, let's do like a post-event recap of whatever it is, and we literally just turn up and just press record, pretty much. I mean, it's kind of it's all very ghetto.
I do wonder what that's like for people when we show up and actually do record with people. It must be an odd experience for them. Sorry.
you. I mean, you're doing well. I mean, you've not scraped the barrel because you've not had me on yet. So it's so you're still highbrow, to be honest.
I think the reality is that we are the barrel. Like, like, this is it. You were wondering, Steve, when you were going to descend to the lowest level.
Yeah,
And it's like, no, here you are.
if LARP content were conspiracy theories, we would be flat Earth, right?
Yeah.
You go through everyone else, and then at the end of the line, there's flat Earth, and then you're like the wackiest of wacky, the far out, like the
Well, if you're flat Earth,
everything on YouTube, you've done like you've watched the movie, every content you can think of. That's when you get to us, and we'll welcome you with open arms when you get to us.
well, if you're flat Earth, I'm Donald Trump. It's
Yeah, giving us a platform for starters.
oh dear. Oh my god, that's so good. That's so good. So, everyone here knows who I am. We get there's some new names and in chat, which is fantastic to see. So thanks for coming along. So if you two want to give us a brief introduction, tell us who you are, what you do.
We are the Larp Noobs, and we do content
So
badly. Essentially,
I already disagree with that. We are the Larp Noobs. It's a weird.
I know. It's a weird thing to say, isn't it? And we don't really do. In fact, we've instantly gone off script, Steve, and not actually introducing ourselves. But we don't really do much apart from kind of like just talk about our experiences at LARP and hope that people find it in some vague way interesting.
I would say like the start of our doing the podcast was because I wanted to do a project just for the lols and with Ian. At the time, I thought I was moving to the States, and now I'm not. So at the time, I was like, "This is something fun I can do with Ian before I go, and we can listen to it in the future." And there wasn't like all the LARP content you see is done by people that have been LARPing. So it was quite. The idea was from like we are just new to the hobby like you, and this is how it actually feels for your first event, and that was kind of it really. But
I think in some ways, like,
There's a great comment that's just come in. Karen Strangerson, don't put yourself down, Ian. It's not bad content. It's at least mediocre.
I need my that's my air spray.
yeah,
Oh my
Right.
god. That,
No,
he's not wrong though. He's not
Well,
wrong.
he's not wrong.
That's the thing. That's the thing, though, isn't it? I mean, so that's all we do is, as LARPers, all we can do is sit down, chat about what we do, chat about things that we get up to, and that's what makes it all fun. I love to sit down and listen to people's stories.
And
Yeah, sorry. Go on.
yeah, I was going to say, like, I think in some ways, like, the best episode is almost like the first one, because in some ways because it's so raw and kind of like, in a sense, like we're so like
Ian.
no, I mean like new to it, like we're kind of like we don't know anything. It's very obvious we don't know anything. Right?
So like
And
like
it
noobs.
literally is our
Yeah.
first experience ever, right? And
We get so much wrong in the first couple of episodes, but what was interesting.
we get stuff wrong now, Dave.
Yeah, 100. Yeah, Ian. That's not.
Let's not pretend it's some kind of evolution, right? It's like
Let's keep going.
we've just worked out that the square peg should not go in the round hole, and we're trying to get in the triangle one.
I feel like we're the sort of people that we've been putting up our bell tent wrong for the last 2 years, and no one would have like mentioned it to us. Like we're definitely those sort of larpers. But
The best
what's my-
kind.
What's my point? Just before Ian started, I can't remember now.
I think we were talking about
How mediocre
yeah,
we are.
yeah, how mediocre you are. Go on.
What's interesting is, right, so we've continued to make the podcast because we enjoy the process of doing it, right? So we don't,
Yeah.
me and Ian don't talk after an event about Empire until we sit down and do the podcast about it. So we're not allowed to like talk to each other. So it's really exciting just to sit down and go through everything. I like all the production stuff to do with it because it gives me a little thing to do. And what's weird is people have carried on listening to it, and it's kind of grown. I'm sure you're aware of this doing the streams, right? Like, people start to come and enjoy it, and then you build this little community behind it, and it's really fun. Like, we're tiny, we're a very small little thing, but it's cool it exists, and we really love the people. Like, the people that listen to us and like get in touch with us are just the nicest, best people. So
we've had just
camera is going to constantly.
we're very lucky though. We've had some really like all the way through. We've had really nice interactions with like everyone in the community and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that like we kind of got the idiot's luck of essentially like people can kind of take pity on just like how how this three-legged dog has kind of made its way through this box. Yeah. I don't know why we're trying to like even vaguely claim it's anything other than that. We're just
That's brilliant. Yeah, I mean, I get the same thing. I've got there are people who I get in here.
Come on, Steve, don't.
And it's fantastic because it's like they're saying at the moment, it's low key chaotic, chat anarchy, and it's brilliant. I love it. It's like if I was doing this and I had no one watching, I would still do it.
Yeah,
that's
that's a really interesting aspect.
To be fair, that's exactly what we do, right? It's just people enjoying it is a byproduct of us having a really good time, which is fantastic, and I like that as a concept for.
And one of the things when we first did it, it was kind of, as Dave says, he was potentially going away, and it was kind of like a bit of like a time capsule almost of like just originally just here's a wacky set of experiences that I'm having with like my best friends who I've known since I was 3. And just like, it was essentially just for us, and we just happened to post it out there, in a sense.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of that ethos is kind of carried through the whole thing. Of just as Dave says, we don't talk about the LARP until we actually come to record. So by the time we actually get that, it's just like I'm really excited that I get to spend an evening with my best mate talking about something that we both had a cracking time doing. You know what I mean? And it's just like, as you said, Steve, like those stories, those LARP stories, And I can guarantee there's something that went on the weekend that Dave's done that I don't know about, that is going to like flip the whole thing on its head, you know. And there's always the bits in the podcast where it's like, oh, well, I was off doing this thing in Senate, or while Dave was busy trying to prove that his Gorilla Tape camera could work, I was trying to make a statement. But no, it's been really interesting to see how it's kind of evolved over time, and if it has evolved, I don't know.
So one thing that's good about the podcast is Ian can sometimes go off on like tangents, and it takes a while to get through, but by the end it's like coherent, but it doesn't seem like it at the start of the.
No. Also, it's one of those things where if you actually go back and listen to it, like 80% of what I say is kind of like actually nothing, and then there's just like an opener and a closer, and that happens to tie it together.
Ian, the hype that you have is so good that it's like, even I don't know. I think listening to people that are genuinely excited and passionate about a thing is always worthwhile. Like there's a video on YouTube about making aluminium cans, and it's awesome, and it's got like 1 million views or something, like millions and millions of views of how to make aluminium cans. And it's like, it's great because the guy's passionate about what he's talking about. It's not because aluminium can production is exciting, it's because you're passionate about it, you know. That's what's cool.
Like, there's that whole thing of like essentially both LARP and the podcast experience, but LARP being a massive part of that, it's actually like changed my life without sounding too profound, but it is actually that profound. It's changed my life in quite a substantial way. It's made me actually achieve things, create things, and produce things, and sort of revive a part of myself that I kind of let slide from when I was a kid, that actually like made art, or attempted to make art, or was just creative and rewarded myself for being creative. And LARP lets me have that again, and it's invaluable really to me, and that's why I miss it so much.
Ian like really likes his crafty stuff, basically. Like he's,
and it's not just that though. It's everything, right? It's all of it. It kind of, it awakens something that's important about what it is to enjoy life, and I find it really has, like, it's actually important to me, right? Like what it's done, and it's changed me a lot for the better.
Yeah.
Like I actually really have found everything about it really rewarding.
Yeah. I think that's the great thing about this, the whole hobby though, as a whole. We all get to sit down after an event, before an event, think, oh, what am I going to do here? What can I do there? Have a great laugh doing it, talk about it, and it's like that. Like people are saying, it's fantastic when you see everyone talking about with all this passion. They're joking, they're laughing, they're crying sometimes and stuff like that. When you get like character deaths or something like that, it's great, and that is the reason I love doing all of this, and I love to talk to people. I mean, you two, I'm not too sure on yet, but we'll get there.
Your instincts are correct there, Stephen. Your instincts are right there.
You should never have pressed the button that invite us, basically. That was your first mistake.
I just want to, before I forget, I saw something in chat. I'm trying to read chat, by the way, but someone said about the stories for the intros and outros that someone should make like an episode where they're all together. There is the story so far, the story continued, and the Tower of Anarch. That's that set of stories. If you just want to do intros and outros, I will be making one at some point, which I should probably plan, which I haven't planned yet, to make all the intros and outros into one big episode. I really appreciate that you're interested in that side of things, because I put loads of effort into it, and I really appreciate it. We've got loads of good people. In fact, George is in chat, and Robert, so they're people that did voices for us. Anyway, yeah, I'm done.
I suppose, yeah, you're seeing your chat at the moment, aren't you? On your channel.
No, I'm looking at your channel.
Are you? Ah, right. I've not.
Yeah.
Oh, I've not seen.
Another whole thing about those intros and outros is it lets us actually share another aspect of it with, if you like, the Bungle, who's the third LARP noob, really.
Yeah.
And he does.
Yeah, Stephen, we just did our 50th episode, right? So me, Ian, and Bung are like best mates, right?
Yeah.
Ian comes over, he records like the intros and outros with me. We have a bit of a ceremony about it. We have a script made up, and it's really good fun when we do it. So it comes up to our 50th episode. Me and Ian record it. I go and see Bung. Bung's like, oh, did you not think to ask me? And then I was like,
And that felt really bad.
oh God, we've done a terrible thing. So the 50th episode should have Bung in it, but we didn't actually record it with him. So now we need to do another episode at some point.
I think there's gonna be like a 50.1 or something, right? Or like
yeah, but Ian is Bungle is 100% like the third part of this. It's it's a tripod, Ian, right? So
yeah, but like kind of what you need for your
three.
camera. Yeah, imagine your camera wasn't gorilla taped, and it was actually on a tripod. That's kind of what it would be like.
Yeah, exactly.
Aren't you surrounded by tripods, actually, Dave?
And
Like,
there
isn't
are
that
quite a few tripods.
You have like 6
Okay.
tripods,
Within Vision right now, there are 4 tripods I can see.
and
right
you're
now.
still using gorilla tape. Like, what kind of animal are you? How can you treat yourself seriously?
Okay,
So we've had a question come through from from Matt. So this is exactly what I love about LARP. What skills have you gained or improved that you wouldn't have if you had never gone to Empire? And yes, I'd like Steve to answer this as well. Well, fine. So what's
You wanna go first, Steve?
No, you go for it, Ian. You can go first on this one. You're the crafty one.
Steve,
Yeah, well,
Steve, let's go get a drink while he finishes, okay?
I think that
I've got all my drinks down there, so I'm quite good. I'm good to go.
Like, to be honest with you, the first and most important thing I've learned is kind of what I was talking about before, is that like I actually can do the things, and like finding that sort of sense of self-belief in what I can do again is by far the most important aspect that Larp has brought out, and producing the podcast is part of that as well. But so many skills. It's made me suddenly decide that I want to craft some armor, which I'd never done before. It made me decide that I wanted to make soft kit before, which I'd never done. You know, I've been leather working, metal working, all kinds of crazy things. I've got like resin casting potions. Like, these are weird. These are things that like I should have no business doing, right? Like, I really am like a strategically shaped monkey. Like I have no business doing anything, you know. So there's a lot. I mean, just around me, I have all bunch of things that I've crafted. I mean, these look, I've got bags full of potions that I've made and stuff, and these are all supposed to get sold, and it's just they got our Ashbourne symbol on it and things. And then I've got armor and a fancy box to keep them all in, and it's just weird. It's like, why am I doing these things? And it's like, the answer is, it's just the process is so rewarding, and I get to share it with people, and like, who's really going to want to buy this? Like, I mean, it looks a bit cheap, really, but
no, they're going to sell like hotcakes, buddy.
yeah, well, that's the thing, and it probably will, and it's so rewarding, and it's like, so yeah, there's an abundance of skills that I've learned, but I think the most important skill has definitely been to rediscover the part of myself that wants to like just have self-expression, and I think that's invaluable, right? Like, so often in life you can be kind of stuck in a bit of a rut where you're kind of sort of grey manning yourself through existence, right? And it's like, no, man, I actually am a creative spirit, right? There's something in me that wants to express itself.
Yeah.
And LARP gives me that opportunity. The podcast gives me that opportunity. Interacting with people like yourselves gives me that opportunity, you know? And that has so much reward. And I can look all around the LARP community, and I can look all around the events that I'm at, and I'm seeing everyone living out that thing, which we all, I think, that the kind of the human spirit needs. It needs that sense of self-expression. Sorry, am I just waffling on again?
No. I think we've just read that comment. Fill the bottles with your bath water. Thrown right there.
Ian, like, I think you're completely right, though. I think it's like the thing when we talk about like what has LARP done for us type thing, what skills, it can often get into this kind of quite an emotional answer.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we can talk about like crafting, and we can talk about public speaking and a few other things, but really it comes down to an awful lot of like breaking through boundaries you didn't even know existed, right? Like, we can kind of walk, like Ian said, we can walk across, you know, walk through our whole entire lives on rails effectively, and LARP can sometimes give us opportunities where we can change or interact in a different way that changes our perspective of ourselves, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're role playing a character and you do a thing, that's still you doing the thing, right?
Yeah.
Like if you rally a line of troops and fight them back and then lead the charge in and win a battle, you did that. It's yours, right? And that might be someone who has an office job or doesn't really have much excitement in their life or fulfillment, right? So I think that's something really important about LARP, that we can learn a lot of new things about ourselves, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I think well, no, I think that's what LARP brings out of you, though. At the end of the day, I think for me, I mean, I've gone since the beginning, and all I wanted to do was come along to Empire, drink, fight. That was my entire event. That's all I wanted to do. But then you meet new people. I mean, I met my fiance at Empire, and we've now been together years, and I'm amazed she's still with me because I'm different.
Steve, I hate to tell you this, you're incredibly lovable.
I wouldn't go that far.
Well, I'm
but,
just letting you know that is. That's
but
a fact.
she's
I don't know. You can take that, and whenever you want to believe it, you can. But keep that in a box, okay, buddy? Because it's very true. It's extremely lovable. Exactly. Look at that shit. I can't even take that. I can't take it.
But so for me, I've learnt to, I think, speaking better. I say speaking better, shouting better at people. It's a bit more productive than speaking. So doing things like that and actually getting, I think I've learned a lot more about myself because I'm doing, thanks to doing this, starting this channel and doing things. So I've become a little bit more creative, and it's like you were saying that we were talking about beforehand. We look back to the very first thing that we made, so the first episodes. I look back at mine a week ago. Oh my god, it's shit. It's awful. The audio is terrible. My little camera is really, really bad. Everything is bad. And then I compare it to now, and it's like it's come a long way.
That will change. Like for a long time, I couldn't listen to our first couple of episodes. Like I absolutely hated them. Like I found it so difficult to go back because you hear every time you say every time you don't articulate your point correctly, every audio mistake, whatever. But over time, I've really learned to love like the idea and what we did in those first 3 episodes because they're not perfect, right?
Well,
like
I think
trying
an
to
interesting
see
thing
perfection is
because it's like
they're good how they are, right?
Yeah, approaching it as like, because you guys actually both are, if you like, also you're the creative people, you're also the production hands of what you're doing to a certain degree as well. Well, I just turn up and Dave presses the record button, and I just diatribe about whatever comes out of my face.
Ian's the talent, and so is Bung. I have to keep
Well,
very happy.
I wouldn't really call it talent, really. I'd just say it's kind of something that you found on the wheelbarrow and kind of brought into the room. But it's
Ian, you work with what you've got. That's all I have to say.
Exactly.
What you've got.
You're like Michelangelo, dude.
Bungle says he is my clay, and I am the, you know.
But what's interesting is
host, right? Where
I never felt that way about the early episodes. I actually always used to go back and listen to the early stuff. I never felt kind of bad about the first ones. And I'm wondering if part of that is because I don't have the production side of it, that I'm aware of.
Not to be too heavy on the point, but I think it's more like there's a certain like self-esteem aspect when it comes to it as well. That sometimes you can search for the faults in something that you've done, right? Like the idea is if you walk through a room and like there are 10 people in there, and each one of them gives you a compliment, but one person in the room like gives you an insult, you're only going to remember the one person that gave you the insult, right? So it's kind of, I think that, but that's like an internal voice thing sometimes when you listen to your voice back. Like nobody really, like I think it's talent you have to learn is listening to yourself back or watching yourself back and being kind of subjective to you being involved in the experience, right?
Yeah, I mean, some of the stuff I say when I'm like, oh no, I'm obviously wrong about that. It's like, which happens a lot because I'm wrong a lot. But like that side of stuff is a bit cringy. But at the same time, I've always found actually the we're trying to. There's an honesty to the expression, right? And I try not to regret that, right? I can be honestly wrong, and I find that is as useful in some ways and as constructive in some ways as being like perfect, and I think that's been a big shift. I've always been someone who's been very much perfectionist, and one of the things I've really found through LARP and being creative again is this idea that I'm willing to accept a certain degree of my own faults a lot more readily than I think I used to. And it's interesting, like when we're making little Warhammer figures now, and I'm not gonna sort of stress myself like how I think I would have done, say, 3-4 years ago had I decided to do that, to paint them all meticulously perfect. It's just like, no, I want to bang them out in like a month or two, and that's it, right? I'm doing it, right? And it's like, I think there's something's changed in me that's been a lot more readily willing to accept the idea of making mistakes and learning from them and not regretting so much. Like a lot of my life, I think I've lived in this kind of thing of like constantly not just regretting, but fearing regret, which is a very strange thing to have. And I found myself more willing to push away from that.
Yeah.
And just
I think how many people that have attended LARP, like even just to attend a LARP, right?
Yeah.
Like you can't just buy a ticket on the Thursday and rock up on Friday and play. You need to prepare. It's a goal even getting to time in, right?
Yeah.
But it's like camping, logistics, costume, kit, nation, character creation, understanding the rules. Like all these things are things you have to do to be able to get into it.
Yeah.
But when time in happens, and even if you don't think you're ready, but you are ready, and you step out of your tent and you play the game, you've already achieved a huge amount. And I think that's like for us, for me, and the podcast and LARP has they've been in parallel for me, right? So I don't know one without the other, right? But both of them are incredibly rewarding because they, I can set myself goals and objectives, and I can finish projects. And I really love that about both LARP and making the podcast. Is like completing projects, which I think we can all. There's part of us that look at and go, man, I need to.
It's like dopamine here.
This off. I need to do this, and you end up feeling guilty about it. But it's one thing that I can really be like, no, we finished that. We do that. That's what we do. You know.
Yeah, I think for me it's because I suffer from anxiety, so I do get I will get to a point where I'll be doing these. And it's just like doing every now and again with the virtues. We did a virtues chat, and it was really, really interesting. And chat were just listening. There was not much movement going on and stuff like that, and they were very, very listening. And then at the end, it was all that was really good. Learned a lot. Thank you. And at the end, and I got out of that one, and I was just like, well, no one liked it. Even though they said they did, in my head, I'm going, no one liked it. I actually get into a field and I'm there going, well, no one actually wants me here. No one likes me. I do these and it's like, I don't see the point in doing this anymore. And then I get all of that going on in my head and I go, I can't do this. I look at my stuff and I go, well, that's shit. Look at the other bits and go, well, that's shit as well. I've got all these plans. Well, they're crap. They won't work. And then you get, I have to say, like my other half, like yourself, Dave, you've been so good, so nice with some of the stuff you've said to me. It's been great. Matt Dawes as well. He messages me and he has said some really nice stuff. So it's every now and again I just get, and like Ben as well. He's been fantastic, and he's never been to an event. He's never actually met me in person, and he has been awesome. And as soon as he meets me, his entire thought process about me will change drastically. I will be blocked. He won't be coming to this anymore. All of that sort of stuff. But I come out. I then get to talk to these people, and it's just like, yeah. Everything here really picks you up, and that's what I love.
Steve, like both me and Ian, we 100. If people knew the kind of anxiety spasms that both me and Ian have had throughout this stuff, like sometimes we'll release an episode and I'll think like, did we say something that was wrong? And I will play in my mind for like a really long time afterwards. Or the fear of releasing something not good enough or not living up to the expectation of something. Like 100%, dude. Like I think this is something really common. I think it's something really common within the hobby, to be fair. Like we're all, not all, but it does attract a certain breed of people that are maybe potentially outsiders from everything else, but willing to give something a try. Right, and it's like, I think that welcoming like songs and stories, right? If you rock up songs and stories and you want to, I know you spill my drink over the place.
Couldn't tell.
No, it's okay. I did actually spell. Everyone in chat, don't worry. The drink is there's still.
He says the drink, just not his gorilla tape camera, right? Just. You know.
Okay, if you rock up to songs and stories and you have a song or a story you want to do, then you can go and do that. And it doesn't have to be fantastic. It doesn't have to be perfect.
Nope.
But people will appreciate your effort in going up there and producing something that you put time and effort into.
Yeah.
Right? I think that's something so beautiful. And that's just one aspect to LARP that I think is like repeated throughout the game.
There was there's a girl in a young lady in Wintermark. She. Oh, I can hear myself through someone's. Oh, that's weird.
It's not me. It's you. It's not me.
It's not me. I don't have Twitch. Ian, we're just going to blame Ian. It's
I
fine.
don't have Twitch open, so.
Oh, okay. That's odd then.
Ian,
it's gone. Yeah, Ian, what are you doing, man?
Sweet stuff.
God's sake, Ian.
Steve, I can't wait to hug you at our first event, man.
Definitely.
You're
definitely.
already on Team Bash Ian. You're a friend of mine.
Wow. See, this is what I have to get, right? Everyone's always like, oh, yeah, he's always scheming and stuff. I am always scheming, to be fair, but...
But hey, this girl in Wintermark, she I think it was her first event. She wrote a song for her backstory, and she got up, and I will say that she didn't have the greatest voice in the world, but she did not care. She was really nervous, so she was stood in the middle of this tent, and she was singing for 3 people. And someone heard the first line of a song. 30 people walked into this tent, and you could see her eyes go wide, her hands were really trembling, and then she started to singing. She forgot the words after the second line. Then she had the book out and was doing it all, and she kept on. At one point, she dropped the book. It was great. And everyone just sort of like stopped. She was just like, I can't do it. And everyone was just like, no, we're not leaving until you finished. So carry on. And really, really picked her up, really, and kept and pushed her through. It was so good to see. It was fantastic.
I've had exactly the same story, which is weird because I think this happens all the time at Empire, right? Like people will be, like just do a simple performance. And I tried to do this with I did a limerick, which shows my level of boldness. I want to be up there for under 10 seconds, and I want to smash it and get out, right? And then I did a story. I did that songs and story, and that was awesome. I can't express how cool it is standing in front of the whole thing, right, with the fire and all the people around you and everyone paying attention and just the vibe of the crowd. And I did an actual story at Empire Day, which was a player event.
Yeah.
And so I practiced that for ages, and doing it was nerve-wracking but really, really good. So I think performance is a really good way to give yourself, if you're standing on the sidelines and you just want a couple of minutes where you really push yourself and see how you go. The crowds that I've seen have always been very welcoming of someone. Also, stop saying sorry. Don't apologize. You have a complete right to be there. It doesn't matter whether you think you're good or not. Tell the story for the person that's listening to you, right? Get through it. Finish it. You know what I mean? That's what's important. And I think that's... I
really need to perform, actually.
Yeah.
Something I really want to do. I've got 4 songs now, I think.
Ian, I'm not interested until you do them. You know what I mean?
I'm doing a musical stream again over E4, so Ian, we'll get you on that.
Performed, though? Have you actually performed yourself? Have you done a song or a story, Steve?
In character, Mac's uncle died, and so me and my Mac's cousin Varn, we went on his wake. And we were in the Varushkan bar, and we were just sat there, we were chatting. We started to play Knifey Table, which is one of the greatest Navarre games that we invented while drunk. And it's so good. And we were just sat there, and then everyone was talking, laughing around us, and then me and Kit, we just started singing Wayfaring Stranger. And we didn't realise, but when we finished, the entire bar had stopped, and everyone was watching us and showing that. And we just finished, and then we were just like, "Oh, okay. well, fuck off, carry on, we need a drink right now. And that was it. So yeah, I have done that. The only time I've ever tried to sing in front of a fire around was at Ashenhall, and there's a song called I lay my hand upon her toe. It's quite rude. It's quite rude.
Already, man.
It's quite rude, but it's great. It's quite funny, and I was quite drunk, so I was definitely in the bad place to start singing that. But I did, and then I sang like 2 lines of it, forgot everything, picked my drink up, and then just walked off. And that was it. But we've got Dawn, who's in chat, Eva Shambles. Dawn, she is a fantastic performer. So if you ever get to hear Dawn sing over in Dawn, funnily enough, definitely worth it. She did the tent aid thing as well. So Dawn, you're not getting away from that because you are really, really talented. There was a couple of things that we've missed. So Abby, as you'll be surprised that so many creators feel the same way when it gets to anxiety, and that's why being kind is so good. I think
it's part of the process for me. It's literally part of the process for me. It's not like something I've learned to kind of just be like, okay, this is by doing this, I'm opening myself up to these feelings and emotions and all the rest of it that goes along with it.
I think there's a degree of it that's necessary to an extent, right? Like,
don't say that, Ian. I would love a day where I'm just like, no, I'm gonna write a script, I'm gonna smash it, I'm gonna get in touch with a bunch of people to do the voice acting. I'm gonna let them all know. They're gonna send me audio files. I'm gonna bash that out, smash it all together, record with you, clip up the episode, and fire it out without one moment of being like, this is it's absolute garbage. Why am I still doing this? Do you know what I mean? Like all of that stuff. That's at some point that's always going to pop up. Like it's.
I think that's because you care, though, right? Like that's the thing, right? If you care, there is the fragility, or that is part of what it is to express yourself, right? Like, is that if you are giving a bit of yourself. Inherently, I think there is a kind of an aspect of weakness that is on display, and that's okay, right?
Yeah,
but it's
and
like,
I think
it's hard.
What's telling about this is when we were talking about if you're telling a story, like you, Steve, like we were talking about with chat, right? Chat not saying anything. It's the same with a story. If you're telling a story really, really well, the room will hush, and they'll all be listening.
Yeah.
But for your little anxious brain, that's the worst thing because you're not getting any positive feedback in those lost minutes, right? As a capsule comes down from space or whatever, you get those dead minutes. That's you telling the story. That's you doing the stream, and where you're just left with your own panicked, like internal voice. That's wrong, right? The capsule lands successfully. Everyone loved the stream. People cheer and clap at the story, and I think that's what's interesting about LARP is that you get to slip into those moments of where you have to kind of like just be brave for 2 or 3 minutes and then get a really nice outcome at the end, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you get to ride the wave, right? But the wave is often something of your own making, which is a kind of really interesting aspect to it, right? Is that, as I say, you're kind of, a lot of the fear, a lot of the doubt, a lot of the difficulty actually sometimes comes from you. In fact, the biggest aspects of it often comes from you. But when you ride through it and you get to the other side, and you know, that is the biggest reward, that you did it, and you did it for yourself, and you achieved it in a sense, not in spite of yourself, but for yourself. And I think that's a real rewarding aspect of the whole thing.
Yeah. I think Abby has said that about the whole being nice and positive and stuff like that. That's something that I will always try to do on these streams. I don't want negativity on these streams. I don't want anything like that. I want positivity. I want people to see how amazing this hobby is that we have, because it is fantastic. It's why there are things that get talked about. I mean, not everything in LARP is positive. There are things in LARP that are really shit. And there are people in this hobby who are complete dicks. But
okay, hold on one second. You know the guy who made the Thunderbirds, right? You know the
Jim Henson?
Whatever it is, Jim Henson, right? Someone said to him, 90% of the stuff you make is complete shit. And he turned around and went, 90% of everything is shit. It's true, right? Like 90% of all things is pretty shit, right? So, but LARP isn't shit, right? Despite like 90% of it might be trudging through mud and not having a good time of being cold and like whatever you want to fill into that, right? But like
It's Jerry Anderson, not Jim Henson. Jerry Anderson. Thank you, chat.
Phil.
Phil knows. You can guarantee that Phil will know.
Yeah, they've done it. So apologies there.
I had a more positive point than to say that everything was 90% shit, by the way, and I can't remember what it was now, which is annoying.
But,
It makes it
I
seem
mean,
like
I'm not.
nihilist. Like I'm like, nah, everything's rubbish. So just enjoy it, you fucking.
I wasn't good. I mean, LARP itself is great. LARP itself. I'm saying that you get it's the odd person. There is that always going to be that one person that comes. I mean,
that's part of life, right?
Yeah,
Dude,
yeah, it is. Yeah.
In the average amount of society, like in 100 people, how many people are absolute dicks? Like 4, 5.
Yeah.
And you have an event that's 2,000 people. That's a
I'm
bunch of
talking
dicks
my
right
own
there.
experience, though, right? That like at LARP and through doing the podcast, I've honestly not had any bad experiences.
I mean,
right? Like honestly, like the whole thing has been a positive for me. I mean, I'm sure something will happen eventually, and someone will be just put off by just how ridiculous my hair has become over this whole.
Ian, I want you to go full Hasselhoff with it.
Dude, it's out at the back. It's beyond a party. It's an outrage.
Yeah, I shaved my own. I shaved my own hair today, and I was really worried that I'd missed a bit. So this was the kind of acid test to see whether I didn't do it evenly.
The thing is, when it gets this bit, anyway, it's horrendous.
Sorry, Steve. Sorry.
Yeah, I think when it gets to the people though, that's the good thing about being in a massive field is that you could just go, well, that person's a twat, so I'm going to just go in that direction. It's kind of like, yeah, I could just walk away from this, and that's the good thing. Yeah. I mean,
and also,
go on, Ian. Go on.
Sometimes it's not a case of that person is a bad person or whatever. It's more just like I'm not in the mood for that. Like, you know what I mean? Like whatever it, like maybe it's a bit drier than I want right now, or maybe it's a bit more jokey than I want right now. And the great thing about LARP is you can almost kind of like window shop for experiences that you want to engage in, and I think like that's really useful, right? Like I can just walk around, and actually sometimes some of the best stuff is those passive experiences you get at LARP. Like I really love just like walking around Anvil and just you'll hear little bits of conversations, other people's stories going on, like evidence that like the you story is just a fraction of what's going on. You'll hear some conspiracy over in Dawn, or and you'll hear a name of some group, and you'll be like, oh, that sounds really interesting. I mean, I remember I was just sitting down having a meal on a cold, wet event, and there was these people talking about this conspiracy and a murder that happened, and they were investigating it. I was like, where else am I going to sit down in my real boring ass life and hear like some kind of Taggart style, there's been a murder kind of thing going on, It's like, I'm not going to get that in my life, right?
No.
I get that at LARP. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's like Matt does just. I think it's personal. I know a lot of people who consider me to be an absolute dick and hate the footprints I leave in the dirt. But man, they stay away from me, and I do the same with them. I think in that sort of situation, I mean, Matt has said that stop ruining his reputation, and because he sent me some shit, I can't think of anything that he has sent me that's been a dick thing to say. If he sent me something that's been like a criticism or something like that, I've taken everything he has said as a positive and a constructive thing. So it's been good. So I've not... I mean, I have heard people say things about Matt. I have not seen any of it. And I really cannot wait to actually meet the guy in person and sit down and have a beer with him.
Are we talking about Matt Pennington here?
Matt Pennington's a dick. No, he's wonderful. And he's coming. And he's coming on Monday.
Really?
Yeah. I've got him. I've got him coming on Monday. So, but no, Matt Dawes is really. I'm genuinely looking forward to actually meeting the guy in person.
Yeah, Matt Dawes is definitely a name that we recognise as well.
Yeah, he is really.
Do you not
really...
find it difficult? There's one thing that we have, and this is going to sound really, but we're very small when I say any of this. So don't. I want to like the people that we have listening to the podcast are like we have like people that I feel like I kind of know through Facebook chats and messages and things like that I've never met. But do you not worry sometimes that like I know people through Facebook pictures?
Yeah.
And I hate it when someone bumps into you and goes, "Hey, I'm such and such." And that 3 seconds of recall it takes me to be like, "Oh, you're that person." That's an always like I feel terrible if I can't remember who someone is. That's my waking nightmare at Empire.
There's a great names. Oh, I'm terrible with names, but there's a great way around it because I'm a hugger. So
I'm a hugger as well. Yeah.
so when people come up to me and go, Steve, it's great to see you again, mate, and I'm like, all right, you give them a hug and go, I've got to go now.
I was at a rave once, and you know Bez off the Happy Mondays?
Yeah.
He was there, and he was absolutely off his face, right? And he's walking around, and I'm like, I gotta go and introduce myself. So I walked up to him and went, all right, Bez, how's it going? And he went, all right, mate. And he acted like we were best mates, because I think he was so wrecked that he just assumed, like, he assumes he's met you before. So me and him, like, hugged it out and had a great chat when I think we'd never met before, but I think that's what it must be like.
Yeah, there's
any questions from chat, by the way?
I just wanted to say, Eva Dawn, she's putting her SoundCloud into chat and her Instagram.
Nice.
Go and have a listen to her SoundCloud. She is fantastic. She is really, really good.
It's funny actually. Over the last few days, I'd like to say like the last sort of week probably, I've actually been kind of going on SoundCloud and just found myself, as I occasionally do, I'll just kind of like look for Empire songs. And just there's a bunch of little playlists on there and stuff, you know. And it's those songs. They sort of instantly like help me kind of. It brings back the memories, you know. Those kind of points of sitting around the fire and hearing it. Sometimes it's like I don't even have to be near the Songs and Stories circle or whatever environment that I'm listening to the songs. Just that again, it's the passive experience of LARP. Those kind of the ambience of LARP, right? That I can kind of. Having those kind of songs is really, really awesome, right? Because it's kind of I can almost close my eyes and I can have a bit of it again, you know, because it's there. It's something that I've heard and it's tied to my experience of walking around the vista of LARP.
Yeah, I mean, I like listening to, but I'm quite lucky with the fact that I know some really good singers quite well. So Justin Talsma, obviously, he's a good friend. He's a very good friend. And he's got a SoundCloud, and so I do have that on. Andy Ruddick as well, fantastic. So I have his on. You got Sam. Yeah, he is such a lovely guy. But then, Sam Wheatley as well. He
degenerate.
He's half naked. Reprobate.
Terrible person.
Sam is one of the nicest guys I've ever met, really and I'm grateful. I don't think he's in chat, so I think that's really good because otherwise, I don't want to big up his ego too much. And he's so talented. He's annoyingly talented.
There's another guy.
There's a bunch of people like that, Steve.
Oh, he is in chat. Oh, Sam Wheatley's a prick. Fucking hate him. Wanker.
I'm not. Now you're here. I've been embarrassed talking about you, Sam, but I've started, so I'll finish. Wasn't the sort of guy who played drums or had his shirt off around people before LARP, and now, like when I met him, I just assumed he's always been that guy. He's always been the confident guy that can lead a drumming thing or be confident. It just oozes confidence. And it's just like he was not that guy before attending Empire, right? Like I find that it's a great example.
I think that really is interesting, isn't it? Because
and he's
sometimes
sexy too, and his eyes smolder, and his lips.
But it's really interesting because often you have a perception of people, right? You can think like, because this person leads song, because this person leads song.
I'm so bad at that's the extent of. Can you imagine being like a romantic interest for me and like trying to dirty talk with me, and your lips are big and kissable? Like that's not going to get anyone.
You're a married,
but then again,
you're a married man at LARP, Dave. Like you can't.
At LARP, I am. No, we have an open relationship. To be fair, so
Mac,
it's
funny enough that you mentioned that. Mac tries it on with everyone and everything. Mac has proposed to orcs, and one of my running jokes is that there was a Valorn skirmish, and one of the Valorn costumes it had like red and blue flowers all over it. Mac was determined that Valorn was coming home with him. So it was just sort of like it's what, sorry?
Yeah, you froze, but you're back. It's fine.
Oh, okay. So it was just like don't really.
I've seen some very attractive Valorn in my time. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just a shame that they're always trying to rip your face off. It's very frustrating.
It's part of the appeal. So Matt's asked a question. This is quite a good one. What's the first thing you want to do when you hit the field at Time In next event, and why is it? And why is it by your favourite orca drink? Go on in, Ian. Go on in, Ian. You filled this one first.
Oh, I don't know. Actually, there's a lot. I think the thing is, my character Talis was at a really.
Have you got a dabbing rag?
No, this is my snood.
I do declare
I
it is.
I said.
I am peaky in this heat.
No, I mean like. What it really is like, whoop, there we go. No, but
What are you saying?
no, I think my character was at a pretty interesting, borderline kind of pivotal kind of point, kind of going into player events, and then that all got kind of called off because of the situation. So I'm kind of at a bit of a weird spot. So that's kind of moved character side, IC side, kind of like. It's going to be just interesting finding that groove again. But like in terms of like when we just pitch up at Empire again, I mean for a massive part, it's just going to be like seeing everyone again. Like there's so many. I mean, there's obviously all the guys, right? All the people who are part of my striding. It's going to be amazing to see them all again. But more so than that, just like everyone. Like there's so many like really awesome people who, you know, OC, IC, just can't wait to meet them. Like. I mean, I think because of the length of time as well, it's like, and everyone's characters being on freeze. I mean, like, it is the longest arc, right? Like, how do we even like, sort of suddenly press play again on a lot of this kind of stuff?
Yeah.
So for me, it's more like, I could give you answers like, so I have my candidate that I would like to see be the Emperor. I will push my agenda there. I will do political things. I'm looking forward to doing political actions within my striding and banner. I would like to maybe run for an election. I could answer that question like this, but honestly, I think my E1 will be entirely unproductive. And like Ian said, I will be much more interested in just playing the game again. Like really, I think it will be like, I want to go and see people. I want to find out what they're up to. I want to just enjoy a skirmish or two. I want to do some drinking in some bars. I want to go and enjoy the big battles as monsters and as my character, and just enjoy it as a really basic vanilla experience. That's kind of what I'm looking forward to, and just like having it like I'm not a club joiner. Like I'm not the sort of person that joins the canoe club or the local society for whatever. Like Empire is the weirdest club that I like being a part of because I get on with so many people there. I mean, like, how many friends are on your Facebook list that are just LARP friends? You've never seen them outside of that, but you're like, nah, man, this guy's the greatest guy ever, and I've never met him as his actual character. Like, I don't know who he is, but I know his character in Empire, and I like that person a lot. So, I'm looking forward to it.
I think like I see as well, like a lot of it is like I almost need time to rediscover where I'm at. Like I don't know where Talis is, and a lot of I think E1 is going to be finding out what story am I telling.
But how many people? How many people were in these weird character arcs where they were just peaking coming into E1? Like I don't think we talked about this before, that we were going to go to like a player event, and the fact that you could have died on that, and that your character at that time was at a really pivotal point, and then to a year later. Like, are we emotionally there still? Like, I know sometimes that when you pick up a book and you haven't read it in 6 months, it's hard to engage with the character. And I think that's going to be part of going back to LARP and E1. I think that's going to be tough. I think that's going to be something we're going to have to work through as a whole community.
Yeah, I think though, removed even from that, it's just there are moments for things, and you as if you like the teller of that story are in one of those moments, and sometimes that moment changes over time, and it's not so much that I feel a disconnect from where I was. It's just that I think that maybe the story that I'm going with, or maybe the vision of that story, will change by the time I get there and will be impacted in ways by E1 itself. So I'm sorry my answer is kind of vague, but I think there's kind of a necessary vagueness to it that I can't predict the way that I will react
That's a
to
good
all
point.
of the different things. I mean, E1 could start with like one of my best friends in Navarre kind of screaming, saying, "Oh, something really terrible's happened," or it could be like, you know what I mean? But it could do, right? If
What do
someone
you know, Ian?
decides to play that
What have
way,
you been up to? What did you do?
everything. You can always guarantee I'm up to everything, but no, but you know what I mean? Like, you've no idea what could happen at E1 and how that will impact whatever happens. So I'm really excited for it, though. Whatever
Yeah.
it is, I just can't wait
by the
to
way,
react to it.
I just want to say, like, George, who's not Gold Hawk in chat
Oh,
right
okay.
now, he hasn't been to an event yet.
I
And
know.
it's like,
Ah.
the guy is the hypest you've ever seen anyone for LARP. He's a true believer. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's an absolute true believer in it.
We've
and,
we've
I
got
think his
we've got
mission is
we've got a few people like that in chat. So you got Ben, he's never been, and he is super keen, and he has got plans, and I cannot wait for him to actually hit that field.
Okay,
Really
what do you
go.
think about a player event being a first event? I don't know the answer to this. This isn't me like setting people up for my answer. I'm genuinely curious about both your opinions on it.
I mean, I want to run a small player event, do something I see, and then just go, yeah, we'll just do this. Get you back into the swing of being your character again. But I mean, it's kind of linked to what am I going to do when I first hit the field. I mean, OC, the first thing I'm going to do when I hit the field is I'm meeting everybody who I've been chatting to on this in the person, and that's it. I want to go. I'm going to go and hug everyone I meet, even if I don't know them. I think I'm going to get arrested. I will be carried out of that field. They'll be telling me not to come back. He'll be a serial hugger, and it's going to be great. In character, I had so much going on, and it was all. I had got to that level, and it's sort of like I had heralds coming to find me and stuff like that, and now I'm going. Oh, I've now got to go for. I can't do it for a year. It's like, okay, well, that's fine. I kind of know everything's sort of like on hold until these heralds find me again. But I've got all my own little bits of plot, and it's there. It's waiting. I know what I'm doing. Mac is so easy to just go. Yeah, I can walk back into this. I can do that. It'll be all right. But I really have so much keen for that first moment where you hear everyone shout time in, and I'm there. I've got my skirt on. I've got my top on. I've got my face paint on. I've got my tattoos on. I'm sat there in the middle of Wintermark, and everyone goes off to do their moot, and I just ignore it, and I go, well, I'm going to go off in that direction instead.
Is a moot like a
It's a standing.
meeting?
Yeah, it's a standing.
It's like standing.
I did not know that. So
Yep.
There you go.
That's the Wintermark one. So it's So I think of having a player event where people can sort of, if they had lots of little localized player events, just so people can go, oh yeah, I'm back in character for a little bit, even if it's just for 4 or 5 hours. It's something. It keeps you going. It builds you up. So it's like.
I feel like my character right now is like at this. It's my character hasn't been defined yet. I've done things, but like who Geller is as a character is still kind of forming. And he needs to make. There's big moves that he could make, and there's lots of cool things happening, but it hasn't happened yet. So I'm still on this kind of cusp of this character that's still developing, right? Like, so that's kind of my feelings towards. And a lot of that can kind of be dependent or like dynamic for stuff that's going to happen at E1. I feel like I'm setting myself up to the position now where things could come to me, or I could really easily put myself into a position if I needed to, you know. So that's kind of without being that vague.
I think what's interesting is that there's kind of scales to a lot of this stuff as well. Like, I mean, Talus has been around a while now, but actually, weirdly, I mean, he's not a super defined character. Like, I don't really have a. There are some things that have occurred and some events that are important, and people do occasionally come and sort of find me, which is like crazy that anybody would want to kind of firstly come and see me, but secondly come and see Talus. But it's like, yeah, like he's not super well defined. Like, I mean, I don't have heralds wanting to come and see me, but it's like at the same time, the scale of the story is such that like actually the things that are happening are important on a another level, right? They're important on like there's personal interactions that I want to have with specific characters, and those are very important. I've got some stuff that I really want to do in Urizen, for example, that is very, very important that I do, and that I never got to do.
Ambition doesn't have to be everyone going to be the monarch, right?
Oh, no, yeah,
like it can
exactly,
be,
and that's exactly what I'm saying.
Your ambition can be to do a whole bunch of stuff, which is weird because I think I am actually indoctrinated into the way at this stage in my life. Like that's definitely something I think about in real life, which is probably not a way you should be living in real life.
I think there is this thing, what PD have done quite intelligently, I think, with the game, is that a lot of the game is about taking action. If you really boil a lot of it down, right, it's not if most of the mechanisms in the game are active, they require assertion from you, and they reward action, and that even bad things that could happen to your character are rewards, of course, because these are all RP rewards, right? But the whole game is based about the idea that, you know, you risk it and you do it, and results occur based on the actions that you take. And there aren't really kind of passive things you do. We've kind of spoken about this before. There's not things where I can put a hat on and I've suddenly got like sneak plus 20 because I'm wearing the hat of Master Stealthery, right?
Or the charisma hat. The charisma hat. That means that no. I know you want to run away from that army of Druge that's charging into you. That's probably going to kill you, but you're going to hold. Like there's no hat that does that, right?
No.
Yeah, so it's like everything is active. If I want to be sneaky and stealthy, I have to do that. If I want to be charismatic, I have to do that, right? And then the rewards then are all mine. And I think that's
okay. I saw a thing on a friend's Facebook group the other day, and they were talking about how they believe that charisma is something that, I think you're involved in this chat actually. Charisma is something that you're born with. I don't think that's true.
No. So I was talking about this. That it was actually, I brought it up. So it's like this thing, if you could have a skill, someone asked the question, if you could have a skill instantly mastered, what it would be. And I said, like, one of the obvious ones would be charisma, if you count charisma as a skill. Because charisma is, a sufficiently high charisma is about as close as you can get in the real world to a superpower.
Yeah.
Right? Sufficiently charismatic people are ridiculous human beings, right? And it raises the question of, is charisma something innate? And I think there are certain things, right? Having like there are probably like being like, for example, if you're attractive, that has certain benefits. If you're interesting, like visually interesting, that can have
a really attractive person. Wouldn't that be awesome? Can you imagine like not knowing what a frown looks like? You just walk into a place and everyone smiles at you because you're like that attractive. Wouldn't that be great?
But I think those are real things, right? But also,
I've never experienced that.
I've experienced a lot of frowns, Steve.
I just get attacked.
Yeah, I think I also look kind of shifty. Like when I go into Wilco's, the security guard will follow me around while I'm in there, and I'm
me too.
Come on, dude! Like I'm not. If I'm gonna steal anything, it's not gonna be from Wilco's. Do you know what I mean? Like give me some credit.
I'm gonna interrupt a bit because I want to touch on some things that have been going on in chat.
Please do.
Do you two, either of you two, have a Pinterest set up?
No.
No? Oh, okay.
No.
Okay. I've got 5.
Wow.
Because I have little ideas for my character, so I've got loads of them. So they've been talked to. But Ben has said something there, and it's made me go, "Ooh, I wanna broach that quick." He said, "My big fear is getting there and then not enjoying it." I think I think so many people put a lot of pressure on themselves when they get there. I would say to everybody who is new, turn up without any plans whatsoever. Turn up to literally just go, I'm going to go and visit this nation. I want to go and find that nation. I want to find that thing, and that's it. That's all I want to do. Because you will get there, you will chat to everybody, you will see everything going on, and then your game will find you. You will go, I want to get involved in this. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to do the other. Matt said for at least one event, there's enough entertainment to be found by just walking around and watching. And it's definitely the thing. So I would say just no pressure on yourself. I mean, you could be like George, who has spent an absolute fortune by the sound of things on everything that he's got from what you're saying there. But I would say just turn up. Don't have plans. Just do nothing.
not to, I hate plugging our podcast, but it's like the last episode we did with Sol, which was a new player event one. We talked about it might happen on the Saturday, probably after the afternoon, after an adrenaline dump. You'll be tired, your emotions will be kind of up and down, and you'll feel a sense of regret that either you're getting FOMO, that your fear of missing out on something, or your expectations for what you should be doing at LARP aren't being met. Okay, so it's like, it's that whole, yeah, thanks, I know, Wookie. Think of it more like the whole Buddhist philosophy of the things that you want hurt you. And I know this sounds really dumb. I know there's only 4 events a year, but like, play your position, small soldier, right? Like, just go out there, aim for like 3, maybe 4 events where you can really immerse yourself in RP, right? And that might be something that you'll experience retrospectively. So it'll be a couple of days after, when you digest everything, and from the battle you had where you're running around and you're kind of awkward and you can see the referees, your memory will kind of shift a lot of those battle memories into something much more epic and much more cool. Like, wait a few days, see how you feel about it then. The resale market on LARP gear is very, very favorable. There's loads of people out there always trying to pick up decent kit. So you might lose a little bit of cash off whatever you bought. If it's still in good nick, then sell it. Like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, if you try and force it, LARP isn't for everyone. No. I would say try and limit your... Like, if you have a bad experience, if someone's a dick to you, I'm telling you right now, that's a rarity, okay? Like, it can happen. It can, okay? So I know it's going to be awfully emotional when you get to that point and someone is a dick to you. The odds on that happening are so slim. They're so slim, and you're unlucky. It's not a reflection on you. Get out there, speak to your egregore, go on a few skirmishes, have a few drinks, turn to the person next to you in a bar and have a conversation, right? Or just whatever, right? Like, that's how I found the really stuff that I loved was just little interactions with people I've never met before. Like, I really like that side of the game.
I think there's also the whole thing that you can go in and you can be fearful that people are going to laugh at you, or that you're not going to know anything. But actually, I think there's a truth that your ignorance actually can be a really good gift, because if you're asking questions, you're going to be instantly creating game for people, and the opportunity for them to tell you something is actually a very rewarding experience for both of you.
Like, that's a lot in his podcast with the whole kind of like, just say I'm new to Anvil. That's my big tip as well. When you're new to the game and you want to be involved, like, if I say that, but if I came out with a bit of lore and I was wrong, if someone reprimanded me for that, as in they made me feel bad about my lack of knowledge or the fact I got something wrong, that's their mistake, not mine. Okay? Like, I misunderstood the lore, and I said something that might appear to be at odds with the lore. But if a person turns to me and makes me feel bad about that, that's their mistake, and that's not in keeping with the game. So remember that if you are having an interaction like that, that's that person. You can come to a lot of different camps in Empire, and people will be extremely happy to talk to you about the lore, right? Some people's game is that entire thing, is just to let new players into the game. And in fact, I think that's... Sorry to keep going, Ian, but the one thing that I really like about certain players when they get to a certain level, there's one player that I'm thinking of, he's a political player, and he went for an election. He was trying to do stuff all, like, it sounds weird, but for himself, right? He wanted to get elected, he wanted to do this, he wanted to push some stuff. Now he has become this weird political fixer. So he's involved in the political game, but he hasn't won any elections. But he loves helping other people out enter that game, and that's his entire game now. And the dude is so satisfied. He's so happy in his game, being a slightly more experienced player, helping out less experienced players. So I think that's something to be said for all of that, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I do. I love to get players involved. I want to get people involved. So I've made a point of going around and listening to everything that goes on in the game. So Mac is a information broker. Mac knows so much that goes on in that field.
You guys are the best, by the way. There's a bunch of you guys out there. There's not as many as there should be, but when you bump into an information broker, Ian, I think you've bumped into an information broker. They're fucking cool to meet, because they're like, and you're like stunned as a new player, being like, hold on, so I can talk to you, and your entire game is introducing me to someone or letting me know about a thing.
Yeah.
It's really
I-
cool. And that can be
love
for your
it.
own ends, right? Like if you're like, oh, I've got a military unit, I don't know what to do with it, and you're like, well, Wintermark need a fuck ton of soldiers over this flank, so let me go and introduce you to someone. If you don't know what to do with your military unit, come with me. And there's like you can like enjoy serving your own needs while helping someone else out, right?
Yeah, I did. I had a great moment with a hall in Wintermark where I'm quite close to this hall, and I was just sat there, and they said, "Oh, we're having a hall meet now, so you can go and wait outside." So I was like, "Okay, fair enough." So I waited outside, and then they said, "Does anybody know anything about this thing that's going on?" And everyone in there was like, "No, no, no, no." So I shouted the information through the closed door to them so that they knew what was going on, and then I just carried on. And then they did it with something else, and it was like, "Well, I think it's this." And it was like, "No, no, no, that's wrong. It's actually this." And
Yeah.
I did it for about 5 minutes until it got to the point where they just went, "Should we just let Mac in?" And I just went in, and I was just giving them all this information about what was going on, and it was great. It was really, really nice.
How do you filter through? Because me and Ian are we're the boomers on Facebook. Like we'll believe anything that people tell us. Like we don't. There's no filter for us. Like if you think like Bill
It's
Gates and George Soros are in charge of a giant cabal to do that's us. We're the people believing that at Empire. If you tell us something, how do you filter through from like what's just noise to actual valuable bits of information, or do you not know?
a lot of it is bullshit, and even if it's bullshit, I will still use it. If it's obviously true as well, it's because you know the true stuff because you'll hear it from like 4 or 5 sources, so it's really, really good. But I have had people come up to me who I know want specific information to get. Like someone wanted information to meet someone specifically in the Navarre. I sent them off to the marches because I didn't like them. So I deliberately fed them wrong information, and then when their people came to look for me to say, "So you fed them the wrong information then? So you lied to this guy, you've done this," and go, "That wasn't very good of you, was it?" And it's like, "No, it wasn't." And it's like, "Well, what are you going to do about it? You've come here. There's 4 of you. You're now here having a go at me because I lied to him." They say, "But what are you doing?" They say, "What are you going to do to me now?" They say, "Are you going to pick a fight with me? Because I'm pretty sure I can take you all."
Yeah.
I was there with all my armour on. I was getting ready to go for a skirmish. I was fully armed, and I have a lot of hits. And I'm just there, and it's just sort of like I've been playing this character for 6 years. I'm pretty sure I'm going to kill all of you now. And
See,
they were just,
I love this. I love this whole thing of being like when someone comes to our camp
Yeah.
and wants to, and it's just like you can just see all the lads. Like there's something really subtle about it where we all get our weapons together, and it's really subtle, but it's like always there. Like if you just rock up on the camp and start acting a fool, then we'll talk to you, and but there's weapons moving around the camp and whatever, you know what I mean? It's just like if things are going to kick off, they kick off. And I love that kind of. I like the fact that PvP isn't massively prevalent, but I like the ominous threat of it at all times. Like if it was like there was no threat of PvP at any point during Anvil, like, away from
I
think it would spoil the game. I think there's something to be said about having the subtle.
Yeah. Dino Wookie has just said here, "Steve, have you ever given someone information that would knowingly get them killed?" Well, yes. Yes. I have sent someone into a battle and given them wrong information purely because that person is a dick.
Wow.
And it's sort of like, and I've sent that they didn't die, they got quite.
Someone cooked that up. Cooked that up right now. That's damning. It's damning evidence.
They got quite bad. Oh no, I don't care.
I don't think I could be involved in this stream anymore.
That's like that bit.
Not approve this message.
It was really, really good because I was able to give this person information, and it was literally about enemy battle tactics. And I just said to them, I know that this army, because I've fought against them before, they always come in and their general likes to do this. He hangs back on the flank on his own and watches. because then he can see everything from the side and he then moves around there. I said, so the best thing that you can do if you want to make a name for yourself in the military game and find someone and kill them and do that, that'll be a great thing to do, is do this.
Hold on 1 second. Are we talking to a general or a field marshal at this stage?
Oh no, this was to kill a enemy general.
In a
But this
or a major battle?
No, this was in a major battle, and this was just someone who I didn't like.
Steve, I'll stop you right now. You're not just sending Chappie, though, are you? You're not just sending one person that you think is a dick off to die. You're sending everyone that they command.
Oh no, I wasn't giving advice to a field marshal or a general. This was just to random spod number 4. This was just to a guy who said he wanted to do something like really heroic on his own and stuff like that. So I just said, right, go over there. He does this, and we all went in, and I remember looking over with my unit, and I saw him run off into that copse on his own. And then, literally 2 or 3 minutes later, come running back out of that copse as there's about 60 Jotun running after him, and they caught him. They caught him as well, and I was just like, "Yay!"
Okay, so I'm a runner at the moment, which I don't know whether I will be in the future. That's something to be.
Runners are great.
Yeah, I really love it. But it's really interesting to have a kind of external view onto the military game. Like I like wargaming, so the idea of playing wargaming with real people on a giant fantasy stage, like, oh my god, can you imagine like ordering units out and it either going well or not, and like that's crazy, right? Like imagine
I love it.
Balls up the strat. Yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it. I love watching it. I love watching the field marshals vein on their eye like constantly bulge because they're trying to look cool, but like it's really stressful. Like yeah, it's a cool part of the game.
Yeah, I mean I'm a captain and I've got my own unit, and I go running into stuff. I love it.
Mr. Fancy Pants. I'm a captain. I've got my own unit. He just drops that. Do you hear where he dropped that, Ian?
He sends men to die, Dave. You know what I mean? He's got all of the information. He's like
I like when I first started Empire, because I've been playing Empire since the very beginning. So E1 year 1, I turned up. The Navarre generals, one of them. Basically, he was a soldier. He wasn't a general, and I was there giving advice. I created the Navarre Scouts. I started them up at the very beginning. That was all me, my idea, and so I did that, and it was great. And they're still going, and I love it.
Yeah, they die a lot, but they're so helpful.
It's fantastic. The Scouts are amazing. And then when we basically there was a battle, and the Navarre general at the time, he made a massive mistake, and we came back after it, and the senators removed him as general, and then just came up and they just said, when they did the vote, and they just said, we want you to stand, and they said, you'll win. I was like, well, okay, I'll stand, but I don't know if I want to do it. And they literally said in front of everybody who was voting and the other general, and they went, we want you to vote for him. So everyone did. So first event, I was a general as well. It was great.
This is both my problem and what I like about the political game, involved in one thing, right? Like,
oh, it's changed now.
I don't know. It's the political game I find fascinating, and it's a game that I've kind of like brushed against rather than being a part of. I find it fascinating. Like, I think it's a really interesting game that people can get involved with. And I like the idea of working it out and playing it and being like good at it. Like, I like the idea. I don't know whether that will ever happen, right? But it's an interesting part of the game. But I think it's a game that's reliant on you paying your dues, which isn't something that necessarily I'm always about at Empire, because I've got loads of stuff to do, right? So it's difficult.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. The military game is quite an interesting one, but it's definitely, I find it's an old boys club, and that's part of the problem. The best field general that I've ever fought under and worked with in character is Claire Sheridan, Narcissa, Nicassia rather, of Urizen. Yeah, she is phenomenal. She is phenomenal.
I think she was one of the generals when I was a runner. I think so. She was really good.
She is fantastic. She is so good. She is really, really good. And I cannot sing her praises enough. So if anybody out there who's watching wants to get involved in the military game and you have the chance to go to Urizen to find her and have a chat with her, definitely do it.
Did you find, is she the one that she never raised her voice? She
No.
never raised her voice, and it was just like the power in that was
Poise,
like,
dude.
it was
Poise.
like that is game. That is game, right?
Yeah.
Like when you're like, I'm gonna speak at the volume that I'm speaking at, and you're gonna listen, and people are listening. That's when we're talking about like charisma stats. That's a 20 right there.
She is incredible. She really has a gravitas to her.
Yeah.
She is absolutely phenomenal, and I
wonder
love it to pieces.
There's one thing I think that's lacking from Empire sometimes is when people don't know what they're fighting for or why they're there at the battle. Like, I would love a way of communicating that clearly. Like, if for the Entwined Paths, Ian, this is something like, sorry to the stream, but we should make sure we do is brief our guys or girls, citizens, on what's going on, so they know the stakes and what we're fighting for and why. Like, I find I've been to quite a few battles where I haven't even understood what we're doing or why a line is just holding rather than advancing, right? Like, I'd like to see that like a lot better communicated. But unfortunately, at like 10 o'clock or 9:30 on a Saturday morning, when everyone's a little bit worse for wear, having stepped in the campsite and they're walking up there, it's hard to organise.
I think there's multiple aspects to this, though, right? There's the game aspects of a lot of these decisions often aren't made until quite late on, and then translating that at, say, if they're made at like 10 p.m. to a bunch of people who are at that point are all going around having drinks and doing all the other things. It's a huge part of the problem,
Ian. It's a huge part of the problem.
Big
how many times, like, are you checking the loos to find out what's going on the next day? And
you don't know.
But the meeting ran late. I'm not saying that military council should cut their meeting short for the rest of us, but it's part of it, right?
Well, they should.
Yeah.
It's like Matt Dawes has said there. It says, if that doesn't happen, make a fuss IC and call your leaders out. Because that should happen. When I was a general, it was literally, we'd call a standing and I would walk into the military and say, this is what we're doing and why. And then everyone else would discuss it, because it's like, I've generally got another 20 meetings to go off to, and I would wander off to the pub and ignore them. So, because I want, when I do anything at Empire, I want to do it for the roleplay. I'm doing this game for the roleplay. This is my bloody holiday. I don't want to spend my entire time. I want to do stuff. I want to get a position and do that. But I want to do it for the roleplay. So, like, I have a bit of a bone to pick with the military council, because I don't like playing my military game via a spreadsheet. I don't want I don't want to know the numbers. I'm not interested.
But don't you think there's something nice about, like, if you're a sergeant in a squad, no one needs to make you a sergeant in a squad, right? The field marshal or general, general. I'm talking about a nation here has a general, right?
Yeah.
Within that are units and bodies of citizens, and they will all. This is what I like. See, I agree with you. I have zero interest in the military council. I don't want to go to the military council. I don't want to mess around with it. I don't want to play any part of it. Do I love the battles? Do I love the camaraderie of battle and everything that goes on, the tactics, all of that? I love it. I absolutely love it. But I feel that those are two very separate things, right? Like, if I'm talking to the people in front of me and I'm like, put my hand on a shield wall and I'm saying to them, you move forward, I'm with you. I'm going to paralyze them. You go in for the strike when I do this. We're going to do this. I'm talking to people. I'm doing all that stuff. No one needs to give you permission to do that, right?
No.
Unless you're over advancing, which is something that's bad, that's easy to do, but you should always listen to a general. But, like,
I think that this translates beyond just
without giving permission, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, a lot of this translates beyond just the battles, though, right? You don't. Again, there is no hat that makes you a commander. I mean, there are, in terms you can be given a title, but in terms of your ability to role play and convince people to go with you on any particular vision that you have, you can make that happen through force of role play, right?
Yeah.
If I am able to convince the whole army to follow me, which I've done once, which was crazy, and have like guide everyone back to the gate, it's like you can do that, right? And that's an awesome moment that you can do. But you don't have to be made a general to do it.
No, it's all something that builds up over time as well. I'm quite lucky with the fact that I'm loud. I'm very loud on a field. I'm loud in a fight, quite bolshy when it comes to that sort of thing as well. So I've been playing this character for, as I say, for years. So when I joined Wintermark, they said, "Oh, we want you to join the Shield Wall." It's like, no, I'm an ambi fighter. I'm heavy. I'm not a shield fighter at all. I'm not a line fighter. That's a terrible move. And they said, okay, we'll go off and join the skirmish things. And it's like, look at the size of me. I can't run. I don't run. I'm not a skirmisher at all. I'm a line breaker. And they're like, well, we don't have use for you. It's like, you do.
They don't have assault troops, basically.
Yeah, it's like you do have use for me. You need something. It's like, well, you're going to do what you're told. And I was like, well, yeah, you don't know me very well. And so we got into the battle, and I had the generals going, you need to go off and do this. It's like, no, I'm not doing it. I really am not doing it. But this is my character. This is me as my character. This is my character as generals will see as a flaw. So I did the one battle with them, and went off and did my own thing, and they were looking shocked as I'm like 20 feet behind enemy line on my own, and they're like, what's he doing? And they don't have a clue. And so they have a chat with me, and there's like, well, what do you need? And it's like, well, I'm already doing it. I'm making my own unit. I said, because you need this. And I created it. And we had moments where like part of the shield wall would be set up and they'd be really struggling, and I'd form up 30 feet behind them, and we'd all be ready, and then we'd just sprint at our own line, and they would splinter as we went running through. We'd hit, we'd break it apart, then they'd follow, and it was great, and it worked.
Aggression is so important. Like,
yeah.
It's like and boldness and braveness. I think also what you were just saying then, 20 people. If you want to make a big difference on a big battle, 20 people. 20 people that are willing to do it with you, that are motivated to do that with you, will change the course of the battle 100%.
I think, though, importantly, that it's not that all of this isn't just applicable to battles. This is relating to all of roleplay. If I can get 20 people, or even a handful of people, to believe something that I'm saying, and I can roleplay to an extent where people are willing to engage with whatever game I'm selling, like that can actually have a big impact. If I can get the right 5 people in an environment to think as a, to act and to go with me in a certain way, that could be at a standing, that could be like just in a discussion that could then have much more far-reaching implications, right?
Yeah.
You can actually move a lot. You can, with actually not a title, or not like any kind of need to go through general channels. And of course, that's part of, if you like, undermining essentially the kind of the construction of what the society, if you like, would of Empire would want you to have. But that's fine. I think there's times that you go with it, and there's times that you don't, and you have to find those moments. It's all give and take, and I think that's your character.
I think that's an interesting point. When you first show up to Empire, I think the general rules of Empire can feel intimidating, and the world can feel intimidating. Like I said before, the little moments is what that you should be going. Like, I remember I went for a new player skirmish. It was when it was his first weekend, our friend Lloyd, and he was going for a player skirmish, and they were light. They didn't have enough people to go. So I was like, well, my striding mate is going, and I want to keep him safe. So I ran over to Dawn or High Guard. Who was it?
Yeah.
High Guard. And they lent me a shield, right? Like, I walked in there and went, hi, I would like to borrow a shield. And they were like, all right. And I went, just your trash will do. And they turned around and went, we don't have trash here. And it was just like the most badass line about and they had everything lined out in shield, all their weapons lined out, grabbed the shield off there, and I was like, I'll bring it back. Ran off to the skirmish. But so I was standing behind I was the shield wall, and there was new people all around me, and I said to the guy behind me with a long weapon, I said to him, when I step forward and I strike, you strike as well. They can't defend both sides, right? So we started to get into this lovely little line formation and step, like how Wintermark should behave all the time, which is this lovely I know. Let's not. But like that kind of way, he would strike and I would strike at the same time. You can't defend 2 points at once, and therefore we would just murder through this line. But the interaction with those new players at the front and seeing their confidence grow was really cool. Like that was one of the best things I've done at Empire. I think.
Yeah, it is great. You just need people behind you. But all I'd ever say about Empire, you need to enjoy your roleplay. That's it. That's the only thing. Enjoy it. If you're not enjoying it, find something else. Do something else. Change it, and that's it.
Step away. And
So
this involves the battle as well, right? If you're in a battle and you're hating where you are, take 2 steps back, turn around, check out for archers, and move somewhere else.
Yeah.
Just-
Come and find me. I'm generally doing stupid things, like I go and fight the big monsters and dry hump them and win bets doing that. I twerk behind enemy lines and win money for doing it. Serious, I do all of that sort of stuff, and I love it, and it's great fun because I want my game to be fun.
If you're a Navari and you're monstering, listen to the loudest unit and come and join us. You can have a great time monstering with us, whatever it is. We're gonna have a great time. We'll be loud. Other people will hate it. We'll have the best time. It's gonna be awesome. Just come find us.
Yeah, and also it's. I think sometimes you can have a vision of what you think will be fun and what you, because I think a lot of people sometimes come in from other role-playing things. So you might be used to D&D or whatever it is, right? And you're used to playing like a certain type of character. But what you might actually find is you acting out physically on a field, doing things, being that character for the long haul over a whole sort of multi-day experience. What you'll be looking for then might be something quite different, and who knows, maybe you want to be a more sort of juvenile kind of character, someone who's like more, like a bit like, maybe like when you're normally role playing at your table, you're used to playing like quite a kind of like, an esoteric kind of wizardy kind of character or something. But maybe when you LARP, you'll be like, oh, actually something that I can fall into easier is someone with a bit of a funny voice who likes to sort of make
I don't know,
stupid
man.
jokes, right?
I don't know. Like, stupid voices. I remember, like, one skirmish, a guy was doing a stupid voice, and I remember someone turning next to him and went, "Are you going to keep this up for the whole weekend?" And I think it's a dangerous game to play, having a silly voice at Empire.
Yeah, but it's up to what you enjoy, right? That's what I really mean, right? What ultimately it'll come down to what you find enjoyable, right? Like what you can kind of, the vision that you sell yourself isn't actually, when you actually get to the nuts and bolts of actually going through the process of the weekend, actually you'll find that you'll naturally transition into something a bit more comfortable for you to play, and you'll find it, as you said before, Steve, your game will find you to a certain extent. Your role playing will come.
Like, you can plan like going into the military game or the political game or the magic game, whatever. I find personal relationships have really trumped a lot of that stuff.
Yes.
Like for me, like the people I meet, if they're into a thing and they're like, "Here's a way into this thing," I'll be like, "Hey, I'm down to do the thing because I enjoy spending time with you." So
definitely.
Look at you and Callum, who plays Sinwig, right? Like
my husband.
That character takes you in certain directions, right? Which were not anyway necessarily where you would have intended to go.
No, Ian, don't open the tent when it's the cowboy hat.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like you're quite right. The interactions you have with players, with other players, which are surely the most important interactions that you can have. And I think often people can kind of get into a position where they think, oh, the thing I really want to do is talk to an NPC. Or something like that. They want that to be the big goal, or you know what I mean? But actually, like the best experience you have might literally be talking to somebody at a bar or whatever, and just them giving you a bit of lore, and that might be the best part of your weekend. Yeah. Just someone tells you a story about the trolls in Wintermark or something.
Yeah, there's a lot of that sort of stuff that goes around. It's people have said that the best thing that they've done is that they went off and they met this group in the marches, and they ended up spending their entire weekend with that group, and it was amazing. That was their entire thing, and it didn't go the other. Coffee has just said the best bit of advice for a new player meeting is if something isn't your thing, you can just walk out. And I second following Mac through an enemy line. I've done it, 10 out of 10 experience. So I will say that.
We'll charge again.
Yeah, definitely. It is great fun, and I love to do those sorts of things. And I love to push players. If they say, I want to do this, I will always say, yeah, I will help you 100% do that. We've been going for an hour and 45. I try to go for an hour. I plan for an hour and a half tops.
Right.
So I need to.
About how chaotic a lot of this was, by the way, Steve. I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine. This has been, yeah. When has it ever been an hour? Exactly. This has been so much fun. I have really
this has been a
enjoyed
cracking
this.
time.
Honestly, mate, with me and Ian are both big fans, man. We love what you're doing at the moment. You're the hero we need right now, not the one we deserve. It's so great that you're doing these streams. They're fantastic. Also, I want to say, when me and you had a conversation and like Nick was talking about being on it and he said, no, Dave first. And you were like, oh, I don't want to step on your toes. Ridiculous. This is the LARP community. Interview the same people. It will be completely different how we talk to them, how you talk to them. Steve, keep doing what you're doing, man. We're massive fans. Keep doing it, man. Especially over this period. I know it's tough, dude, but you're doing such good work. You're doing virtual.
It's been invaluable, dude. It's like actually like really, I think, helpful to get through this whole. I mean, like it's a crazy moment, right? And you're really doing a lot, I think. And it's been super rewarding, and I've had a great time tonight as well.
It has been really good. To be honest, I think I'd love to get you both back on again, because I think I think we could just do it.
Just slap it down, dude. We'll do 2 hours. Like we don't. We'll do that.
We'll get it.
If people are enjoying it, right? But like Steve, like really, it's like I think it's interesting how. I think your streams really represent a lot of stuff. I know that you deal with self-confidence a bit and how you deal with this and how you keep on going. I think it's so representative of the hobby. I think it's representative. I think it's a really good aspect of what we're doing here. And I can't sing your praises enough right now, dude.
Well, I think one of the things that we found really rewarding is there's one thing doing like an episode, but then it's doing the next episode and the next episode and the next episode, and like that's something that you deserve a lot of praise for, because keeping doing it, right? Is its own thing.
One person watching your stream is getting something out of it, and I would say that like what we're watching now.
15.
That's really cool, and I'm sure a lot of those people in that are like coming back and watching it again really appreciate it, because I know I do. So
I will say, if you haven't followed or anything like that, if you could do that, it all helps massively and stuff. It's really cool, and I love to do this sort of stuff. But I wouldn't be here if it wasn't.
He says, I say for sure I've gotten something out of every stream I've watched. Like, I found that really interesting, because I've watched streams and got something out of it. I'm an idiot, but I'm still learning as I go, right? And it's cool that that's a thing, right?
I've just had my.
Won't get a lot out of this stream listening to us, because we are the low level, but we can assure you all the other streams are going to be better than this stream.
Yeah. So I need to call it there. So it's so humid, but follow any money I make from this. It all goes back into the hobby, and stuff like that as well. I got the merch now as well, so if you want that, let me know, and everything. But
Eva, by the way, I will be listening to your what's it called, the audio stuff. What's it called? Share something. What's it called?
SoundCloud. Yeah. So
I've listened to you before, so that's really exciting.
Yeah, she's fantastic. So I'm going to call it there. So thanks everyone for coming along to chat.
Thank you everyone.
Dave, Ian, thank you so much. This will get put onto YouTube as well. So thank you everyone. You'll take care and have a good evening. Stay safe. Okay.
Strength to the Empire.
Straight to the bar.
Straight to bar.